When your cat suddenly puts their paw on you, follows you everywhere, or just sits quietly watching you, do you actually know what they're trying to say? Yes, it feels sweet, maybe even a little comforting. But behind that simple action, there's something deeper that most people miss. It's one of the most emotionally loaded things your cat can do. And if you ignore it, which most owners do, you might miss what they've been trying to tell you this entire time. Let's start with what this behavior really means. Have you ever noticed your cat walking up to you, placing a soft paw on your arm, and just leaving it there? Most people think it's just attention seeking. Maybe they want food, maybe they want to play. But here's what's actually happening. That moment isn't random, it's intentional contact. Cats don't casually reach out. Physical touch, especially slow and controlled touch, is something they reserve for moments of trust. Behavioral scientists have observed that cats use gentle touch as a form of controlled interaction, something that requires both awareness and emotional comfort. So when your cat touches you like that, they're not just asking for something, they're acknowledging you. Think about that for a second. In their world where sudden movement can mean danger, they choose to move slowly towards you. That means they don't see you as unpredictable, they see you as safe. And by the way, if your cat ever touches you and then just stays there without asking for anything, don't brush it off. We'll come back to that later, because that moment carries more meaning than most people realize. Have you ever felt like your cat shows up at the exact moment you sit down, relax, or feel a certain way? Most people think it's coincidence, but here's what's actually happening. A 2019 study from the University of Lincoln found that cats are highly sensitive to human behavioral patterns and emotional cues. They notice subtle shifts, your posture, your breathing, even how still you are. To them, you're not unpredictable noise, you're a pattern, and over time they learn that pattern. Think about that for a second. Your cat knows when you're calm, they know when you're distracted, and they know when it's safe to approach. That means when they come to you in those quiet moments, they're not interrupting your peace, they're joining it. And here's where it gets even more powerful. They choose those moments because that's when you're most receptive, not just physically, emotionally. Have you ever noticed your cat rubbing their face on you, or placing their paw and gently pressing? Most people think it's just affection, but here's what's actually happening. Cats have scent glands in their cheeks, paws, and forehead. Every time they touch you, they leave behind invisible markers, pheromones that signal familiarity and safety. Researchers who study feline behavior call this social bonding through scent marking. Your cat is not just interacting with you, they're including you in their territory. Think about that for a second. Your home isn't just a space to them, it's a network of scent and memory. And when they mark you,
they're saying something very specific. You belong here. And more importantly, you belong with me. And hey, if this makes sense to you, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more cat lovers who actually want to understand what their cat is really saying. Have you ever wondered why these small gestures feel so meaningful? Most people think it's just personality, but here's what's actually happening. A 2020 study from the University of Kyoto found that many domestic cat behaviors are direct carryovers from early kittenhood and survival instincts. Kittens rely on physical contact for warmth, safety, and reassurance. They press against their mother, they reach out, they stay close. That behavior doesn't disappear. It evolves. Think about that for a second. Your cat isn't just being affectionate. They're using a system that once kept them alive. But here's the emotional shift. They're no longer doing it for survival. They're doing it for connection. And that means something very specific. They've replaced instinctual dependence with chosen trust. Have you ever noticed how your cat behaves differently with other people? Maybe they avoid them. Maybe they stay distant. Most people think cats are just selective. But here's what's actually happening. Cats don't offer calm, close contact to just anyone. Behavioral scientists have observed that cats maintain distance from unfamiliar individuals to preserve control over their environment. But when they approach you, slowly, gently, without hesitation, that's not normal behavior. That's selective behavior. Think about that for a second. Out of everyone in their world, they chose you, not because you're there, but because you're safe. And what makes this even more meaningful is, they're not testing you anymore. They've already decided. Now, let's come back to something we mentioned earlier. When your cat touches you, and then just stays there, no movement, no demand, just presence. Most people ignore that moment, but here's what's actually happening. A 2022 study from the University of Sussex found that cats use sustained, relaxed contact as a sign of deep social trust, especially when no immediate reward is involved. That means your cat is doing something rare. They're choosing contact without needing anything in return.
Think about that for a second. That goes against basic survival instincts. In the wild, unnecessary contact creates risk, but your cat isn't pulling away. They're staying, and that means something very important. They're comfortable being vulnerable with you. Remember earlier when I said that moment matters? This is what I was talking about. They're not asking, they're not reacting, they're choosing to stay connected, and that's not small. That's trust in its purest form. Now here's something important. What happens if your cat suddenly stops doing this? No more paw touches, no more quiet presence, no more gentle contact. Most people don't notice, but here's what's actually happening. Behavioral scientists have observed that changes in social interaction patterns can signal stress, discomfort, or changes in a cat's emotional state. Because what seemed like small behavior was actually a consistent form of communication. Think about that for a second. Your cat was choosing connection, so if that disappears, something has changed. This is where most owners get it wrong. They wait for obvious signs, but cats communicate through subtle shifts. So the next time that quiet connection fades, don't ignore it. So when your cat places their paw on you, stays close without asking for anything, or quietly chooses your presence, do you actually know what it means? It's not just affection. It's not just habit. It's trust. It's awareness. It's your cat choosing connection over instinct. That's not a small moment. That's your cat feeling safe enough to be vulnerable, right next to you. And that simple touch, it was never small to them, and it shouldn't be small to you either.